We are taking you across the world again this week in Country Profiles. I've featured quite a number of countries so far, I think 7 already, and today I'll be traveling to India with Anushka. Anushka is a fellow Chevening Scholar and also a student here at the University of Westminster. Thank you for joining me, Anushka. It's been long in coming.
It has. It's my pleasure. I've been trying to get my time on your show for a really long time, and it
Yes,
finally
it's my
has
pleasure.
happened.
It's my pleasure as well. I'm so excited to talk about India. I mean, when you think of people from India, what do you think about? Anushka, what kind of stereotypes do you ever come across, if you come across any at all, about your countrymen and women?
Well, back in the day, there were some really silly stereotypes. People would actually ask us, do you go to school on an elephant, and do you have cows, roaming the road? Funnily, we do have cows. We have a lot of cows everywhere, but we don't go to school on elephants. All our cities have cars. We have public transport. Of course, Bollywood is a big stereotype,
Yes, of
and
course.
I can't deny the fact that it's a huge part of India. I mean, I think most people associate Bollywood and the dancing and all of that with Indian culture. It's very much part of it, and not all Indian food is spicy.
That's important. I mean, the curry is one of the most popular
Yeah.
type of food from India, so I guess people would associate that as well. But your country is quite a global powerhouse,
Yes.
if I should say, a part of BRICS. But you also have situations where second largest population in the world, but then there are very large pockets of poverty and people living in under below poverty levels. What would you say is one of the issues that your country is currently grappling with that you would like to see change about your country?
Well, I honestly, the population is at such a stage where it's it's tough to bring it down, and it won't happen unless there's better family planning. The government needs to implement family planning. What happens with these poor people is that they have children. The children want to study, they want to go to school, so they're enrolled in school, in a government school, which is very often quite substandard. And what happens is, once they're there, they start realizing that their parents can't support them, or their parents are struggling, so then they move out of school, they drop out, they decide to go work. So they eventually end up uneducated, and that is like a vicious cycle that keeps going on. And of course, in that time of stress, yes, you have a population explosion, because there's no sense of planning, there's no sense of contraception, and before you know it, the population is just skyrocketing, and especially in urban pockets, because people try to come there thinking that they can make a name for themselves or start a job, but it's very, very ruthless in the cities. So it's it's too big a topic to discuss on this platform.
I understand, and as I've said in many of my interviews, much of the issues that you face that are faced in countries, you almost can say it sounds like my country, because I mean we all have similar issues,
Yeah.
but at different kind of magnitude. So then, what would be the most popular type of employment in India? What do you say people do most for living?
Honestly, I can't say there's one particular kind of job. I mean, people go into service, people from the villages come to India, they become waiters, they become domestic help, they could become taxi drivers, they could be hawkers, they could be selling something on the street. It could be anything, and it's not always the most promising place to be. Some of them become chauffeurs for people, but of course they need to still have some idea of the local language. And even though Hindi is the national language, it's really not widely spoken apart from some pockets. India has, I think, over 1,000 different dialects, and
Wow.
about 100 plus languages that people speak in different places. I mean, in the south of India, if you go and speak in Hindi, they probably won't understand you at all. The same with the northeast. So language does become a barrier, and it's tough to fight that battle and sort of make a day's worth of money in such a scenario.
But your people are also known to be very innovative, and
Yeah.
they come up with very unique kind
Indians
of.
are really, really smart. You go to any big company anywhere in the US and the UK, if it's medicine, if it's sometimes even law, IT, you'll always find an Indian at the top. They just Yeah, I think we're quite a smart bunch.
Exactly, and there's some very unique things that you guys, make. So I've seen clips where I don't remember what you call the term, but you may not be able to afford, for instance, a fan, but you make do.
Oh yeah, we're very very innovative in that sense. It's funny because in Bombay there's a particular street, and it has these people who basically make a living out of the most inane things that you wouldn't imagine. Art out of matchboxes. They write your name on rice. So on a tiny rice grain, they'll like sort of write your name in ink and give it to you. They will sort of sell you peacock feathers. I mean, they do anything to get by, and some of the most innovative ideas, yes, on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, big entrepreneurship is big in India for sure. Like, we're gonna call it that, entrepreneurship and innovation.
Yes.
That's the way forward for the world. Let's talk about other cultural practices in India. Then the major religion in India. What would you say it is?
Well, again, that's a tough one. Hinduism is the main religion in India, and that's when India was created. It was Hindustan, as opposed to Pakistan, Hindustan. So, but at the same time, we have a very large Muslim population. We have enough Christians. We have Sikhs, who are another sort of, yes, part of the larger Hinduism. But we have all sorts of religions now in India. But I think Hinduism is the main. Yes.
In terms of sport, what sport do you find people do?
Cricket.
Of course.
Well, cricket is a religion in India, but as of today, there's a big problem because a lot of smaller sports are not getting the kind of money they should receive because of the focus on cricket. So you have hockey, and you have a lot of women's sports that are not getting the right funding as well. India, there's a lot of grassroots football coming up in India, a lot of hockey. There are a lot of small Indian sports like something called kabaddi, which is quite interesting, and I'll show you one day. But yes, cricket, fortunately or unfortunately, cricket still drives our country. It is the religion.
Well, we know big on cricket, and music is big in your country as
Of
well.
course.
As well. Let's talk about that. I mean, the type of musical influences in your country. How would you describe them?
Well, I don't know how to answer that question because, well, so Bollywood obviously plays a major role in Indian music, but you recently have had a lot of Indian, not recently actually, for the longest period of time, you do have Indian pop, you do have Indian rock, you have Indian death metal, you have all kinds of music. But yes, in terms of the commercial sense, Bollywood plays a huge role. I don't know whether you know, but in South India we have, so Bollywood comes from Bombay,
Yes.
Bollywood, but in Tamil Nadu, which is another state, we have Tollywood, which is basically South Indian films and South Indian music. But so yeah, I think there's no way to say what kind of music largely influences India. I think India is a melting pot of all kinds of music, and very very influenced by the West as well.
Okay. Well, they are powerful. They are powerful. and also let's not talk about places to visit in India. So if you were to tell me or tell others to come to India, what places would you tell them to visit and why?
Oh my God, how can you ask me that question? My country has so much on offer. I haven't visited everything as well, but there's a place for everyone. If you love the mountains, the Himalayas are for you. You have to go. It is like heaven on earth. I'm not joking. If you like beaches and seaside, the entire Konkan coast, it's a great driving experience. You can start from one point, go to the other. There's, for people who like to party by the beach and all of that, there's Goa, which is the place to go. Everybody knows of, But India has something for everyone. I mean, I can't pinpoint just one place. Of course, Bombay, it's my home. So all of you can come to Bombay and you're more than welcome. I'll show you around. It's literally what London is to the UK, Bombay is to India. There's always a Bombay-Delhi war. So if anyone tells you to go to Delhi, you come to Bombay first. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can visit India, go to Bombay, and of course go to Delhi as well.
Yeah.
And see all the.
But there's
beautiful
no one
places.
place. I can't.
There's no one.
I
Place.
can't
But
be partial.
what do you enjoy doing when you're in India? Then?
When I'm in India, oh gosh, there are many things that I do when I'm in India. It depends on my mood and the phase I'm in. So back in the day, my friends and I, we'd wait for a long weekend just so we could do this 8-hour drive to Goa. We'd pile in the car, we'd drive there, we'd spend the weekend on the beach, in the sand, staying in shacks, just sort of eating curries, sunbathing. That was my perfect holiday. But when I used to get a longer break, I would go for treks in the Himalayas. Honestly, it is like heaven on earth. There's no other place. I would do, you can do 18-kilometer, 20-kilometer treks, spend the whole day trekking, stay in a tent and all of that. But it's the view when you get to the top that actually makes it all worth it. I remember this one trek that we went on. We hadn't had a bath for 10 days. We stayed in tents. We sweated like complete pigs, but it was completely worth it because we ended it by rafting in the Ganga on the rapids, and it was my first time, and I've done it 4 times since because it's addictive. It's the adrenaline rush is immense. So I think there's something in India for everyone. I mean, if you're going to the hills and if you're coming, do come in the time of the year when you can go to the Valley of Flowers, because like I was just telling another friend, it's like being in the Sound of Music. It's a carpet of flowers, different colors, blooming everywhere, and it's just this tiny period. It's like the tulips, if you miss it, it's gone. So that's a must do for anyone who's there.
It sounds beautiful, and she has been so good in describing the beauty of India, its people, its places and things. I definitely have to visit. I mean, what I know about India, Anushka has, given so much more than what I've
given
seen.
you the tip of the iceberg. Honestly, if you really want to know about India, just find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, or find him and get to me. I'll tell you a lot more. This was just a bit on the surface. Indian people, a stereotype that I'm going to take this platform to break is there's been a lot of negative media around India now, and there's a lot of focus on rape. India is not about rape. And India it happens in every country. If you do something silly or if you don't abide by the norms or the customs of a country, you're inviting trouble. But India is really a beautiful place with really helpful people. Anywhere on the street, anywhere you go, if you're smart about it, you can enjoy India the best way possible and break that myth that India is a country where you walk on the street and you get raped. It's not true.
Good. And she wouldn't lie. She's a perfect ambassador for her country, and
I try.
she is, and you could feel her heart in what she just told you. So please go to India, and I will go as well. Find Anushka or find me, and let's make a trek to India and enjoy. Thank you for joining us for Country Profiles this week. It was exciting. I told you every week I'll have somebody who makes it more exciting. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye bye.
Bye. See you. Thanks for listening.